I'm punchy
Welcome,
this morning. What can I say?
welcome to our Being Your Own CEO Success Circle this morning. This is intended as a support for solopreneurs. And this morning we're going to be looking at spam and spammers. Since there's only three of us here so far, let's just introduce ourselves. Nathan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My name is Nathan Siegel. I'm coming to you from Guadalajara in Mexico. And my thing has been, a couple things copywriting and working with a partner out of Australia to launch an online course on level one of NLP, which is all about changing your mindset.
Right. So at some point, we should have a little chit chat about how you set your courses up compared to how I set my courses up.
Well, there are, yeah, that's a good topic, actually.
Yeah,
There are a variety of ways. And actually, me
yeah.
and my partner, we've been going through absolute nightmares recently to do with getting things set up because we've been using different programs, and twice we've been fooled by two different providers whose material was crap. And it wasn't until we got into it and started using it that we found out that they couldn't deliver, and we've had to start over. This is the third time round that we're starting over
Well, we
because
we have
what's out there is just garbage.
we
So
have
much
we
crap.
have we have something much simpler than that, don't we, Vivek? So Vivek, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Namaste. My name is Vivek. Vivek Technology is my brand. Unify, simplify, amplify life is my tagline. I unify different technologies to simplify them and amplify your life. And I write software as necessary to do that. So I am coming to you from Reading, that is in England, United Kingdom. Um, it has been a bit dull day today in terms of weather. It's been raining since morning. So yeah.
Ah, so I'm happy you're here, and just to continue the theme of what we were saying, Vivek and I have worked on creating the background for three courses that I have now up on my website using Google Forms and Google Docs. And it was quite an exercise. I'm just now at the point where I'm trying to do a bit of promotion. So I spent a bit of time over the weekend creating a landing page for the three courses, and now yeah, I'm just about to do some further promotion. So if anybody who's watching this is interested, go to beingyourown.ceo.com, and that's where you'll find them. Yes, and what else? I'm in Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh,
so,
exciting.
and it's kind of a nice day here. Had a nice long walk up through the park and down along the beach this morning. So, yeah. So
By
this,
the way, I sent you a quick email, which was how to stop spam. I wrote an article a couple of years ago for Windows Secrets,
uh-huh.
which is all about that topic, tons of details. So
Oh,
I
good.
meant to send that to you sooner. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just found it right now and sent it over to you so you can share it with the membership.
So how did you share it?
I sent it by email.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, there's Fred. Good morning, Fred.
Wow, I see you've gone through a name change.
Gender
Mallory,
change as well.
you're muted. So you're just in time to introduce yourself, Fred.
Okay. Now that I've changed my name to my real name, I'm
And
Fred Jones.
Here I thought we were in for a treat.
Another female, you mean?
If not in spirit.
So should I introduce myself?
Yes, please do.
I'm Fred Jones. I'm currently on Vancouver Island on a boat. I'm about to leave by the end of the week, so I'll be somewhere else next week. Yeah. And I work with young people, have a website called Our Future Leaders, where I promote youth groups to learn better communication, leadership skills, so they'll become the leaders that our world needs.
Uh-huh.
And it's exciting. In fact, I just got off a meeting with a fellow in Nepal, and he's organizing. That's why I'm a bit late. We're having Zoom issues.
Well, and you haven't mentioned your notes of a...
Notes of a Nomad.
I almost said the vagabond word again. Why is it that word comes before the...
Notes of Nomad. Just no. It's no. Notes of a Nomad.
Oh, notes of a nomad, right. I never miss them. I think they're great fun.
Really?
So,
thank you.
yeah.
I enjoy doing it. It's
Yeah.
really to remind my grandchildren sometime what their grandfather did.
Yeah.
Sort of, I always say write a book. I thought, well, this is easier than writing a book. I'll just
You're right.
tell them about where I've been and what I've done and something.
Yeah. So that's cool. So I'm glad you made it. And I do want to acknowledge Javita is out on the YouTube page. So welcome, Javita. You can join us anytime you wish. So talking about spam this morning and what generated that whole thing, I guess, was in the green room at some point. We were all talking about, with this pandemic, we've noticed a lot of extra stuff coming into our inboxes, and there's a lot of people seem to be doing a lot of promotion. And I noticed that I'm getting emails from people that I never heard of before. And so you sort of wonder where the heck did they get the email address, etc. I mean, there's all these things. But there's an interesting thing that happened to me this week that I thought it would be useful for us to sort of talk about it a little bit. But then also we watched Dotto's video just this morning, and he happened to be talking about hackers. So I thought we might sort of chat about that a little bit as well. So here's what happened to me this week. Excuse me. On my website, I have a form where if somebody wants to contact me, they can go in and fill in the form. So somebody did that, and they filled the form in with adverts of their business. And so, of course, that generated an email that came into my inbox, and it, that information got recorded in the Google Sheets that was behind that form. And so I mean, what do you do? And I mean, I thought this is a new, seems to be kind of a new form of advertising your business by going to somebody else's website, posting, adding a comment, or filling in the form, and then doing. So do you know what I did? I went back to this guy's website and did the same thing to him. Because Vivek and I were chatting about that yesterday. We kind of joked about it, And I thought, if he can do it to me, I can do it to him. So it was a little company that does videos for companies. So, so but I wondered if any of the rest of you are finding that you're getting a lot more stuff in your inbox, and what are you doing about it? Are you unsubscribing, or are you deleting, or what are you doing? And by the way, I should acknowledge, welcome, David. We thought we were going to miss you this morning.
I gotta unmute.
Yes, you do.
Anyway, sorry I'm late. I had to take care of some business, and now I'm available.
Right. Well, life happens, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Business happens.
Well, you certainly don't want to deny business. So I'm seeing that Javita is saying the same thing is happening to her, receiving a lot of those emails. So we seem to be all experiencing that. So what do we do about that? What's everybody else doing on it?
The very first thing that you should do is to do a search for your email address and see where it appears all over the web. And when you do that, you might be stunned to find that it's literally in hundreds of places. And if it is, you're probably best off to shut it down and start with something fresh. Another thing, and I put some comments in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things to do is to check a site called Have I Been Pwned or Pwned. I put the link to it.
Okay.
And you type in your email address and it will tell you if you've been exposed to different data breaches that would involve your email address.
Well, that was what Dotto shared this morning.
Yeah,
He was talking about a thing called the breach report.
Yeah, it might be similar. The one that I know of is Have I Been Pwned or Pwned, however you pronounce it. And it will tell you a lot, assuming you've been subjected to, because let's say you, like one time a number of years ago, I was on a dating site. The database got cracked, and all of a sudden I was getting messages from spammers demanding a huge amount of money from me as extortion for keeping my email safe. Now, fortunately, I knew that database was public, and it didn't matter. And I knew I was screwed in a way, but I just also knew that these hackers were lying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so obvious.
Yeah.
But, I've learned more about keeping a throwaway address, that you use for anything where you might be afraid of potential spamming. But there are two other things, because you were talking about what happened with your form. And one of them is making use of something called reCAPTCHA to deter spammers. Yeah. And the last thing is something called unroll.me. And if you install it on your computer, or I forget where you install it, but it'll give you a whole list of things to unsubscribe from. And you can unsubscribe from a ton of stuff real fast.
Yes. I have used that unroll.me before.
Sweet. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said to you earlier, Lolan, I sent over an article to you
which
that I wrote for Windows 6. Please do with everyone.
I'll share it on the on the website.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be awesome.
So here's another thing that happened. There had been an email that came into my system, and I got a message from G Suite that said that they noticed that something that came in had a lot of malware, and so when I went into the G Suite report, I wasn't even able to open it. They just disabled it, but they let me know that. So when I went to look at, I was able to see the source of the email. So I thought that I knew that person. And as it turns out, I did a search of that person in my contact list. Sure enough, it was somebody that I had met before. And so I ended up phoning her because I had her phone number to let her know. And so I asked her, had she sent out anything? Because it came into my inbox something like 6 a.m. in the morning. And she said no, she had not sent anything. So I said, well, I'm glad I called you because it's looking as though your site has been hacked. So
Well,
she
there's
thanked
another
me
thing called
profusely, and we parted ways.
well, there's something else going on called spoofing, where your site doesn't get hacked at all, but somebody spoofs your
Yeah,
contact information and uses it to
yeah,
spam others. There's not
yeah,
much you can do about that, as
yeah,
far as I know.
yeah. So, so though I mean it's all this stuff. Is it more prevalent right now? I don't know. Um, or has it always been like this? What was it? Pardon me, Dodo said in his session this morning, it takes 200 and some days to discover that you've been hacked. Well, so,
It's not entirely true.
well,
If you have a WordPress site,
yeah,
those problems can show up real fast, as I've
yeah,
discovered.
yeah,
Well, I mean, the last time it happened, I knew instantly when I saw these things in my email box that somebody had not only broken into my site, but they broke into my hosting and caused a real major pain in the butt for me.
mm-hmm,
And part of the way that I've fixed that, hopefully, is I created really strong passwords and information for my HostGator account with 30 character
mm-hmm.
names with alphanumeric stuff, including special characters,
Yes, of
as a
course.
way of hopefully keeping these pricks out.
Yeah,
No guarantee, but
well,
it's the best
yeah,
that I could do. I wanted to enable two-factor authorization, but
mm-hmm.
it wasn't available with HostGator, which
Uh-huh.
was a bummer. I
Yeah.
would have done it if I
So
could.
that was something else that was suggested where you can to be sure and activate two-factor verification. And of course, then the other thing is LastPass. So I've been using LastPass now for whew, numerous years.
Me too. It's my favorite program.
Yeah.
And that's what I use to generate those
Yes,
passwords,
absolutely.
because LastPass will give you, well, however many characters you want, I guess. I don't really
Yeah.
know how high it goes, but I chose 30. Figured that was
Wow.
plenty. Well,
Yeah.
like here's a really important point. If you're using a WordPress site, a lot of people go with the default admin and a password, and that's a major mistake because it gives hackers an opportunity to crack it on one end.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need to do is use strong passwords for both the admin and the username.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that when you set it up. You can also do it after the fact, but it's more labor intensive. But
Yeah.
that's what I do in every single case with my sites to make sure that they don't get cracked.
So yeah, so the admin, the back end of your website, you want to change that away from username admin. You want to
Absolutely.
create something
Absolutely.
different
Yeah.
altogether.
Yes, very much so. Very important.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to it than that in terms of spammers and so on, hackers. I have an article I wrote on it, another thing too about WordPress security.
Yeah.
Goes into quite a bit of detail on how to keep the hackers out, and it's necessary, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, David, I saw you waving.
Yeah, I've done well. Whenever I build a website, the first thing I do is delete admin. I make a new a new user. I delete admin. Log into the new user, then delete admin.
Mm-hmm.
That's very easily done. I use very long encrypted passwords and whatnot. I was also told, and I tried it on one site, and to change the login screen URL to something different. But instead of it being WP-admin, you change it to something different. I forget how to do it, but that's the only site that I get spam on. So
Oh.
that didn't help on the spam.
Oh.
They haven't hacked the site. They they get a hold of my contact form, and they have people, I think it's from India or whatever, but they're constantly sending me at least 4 emails a day, 4 to 5 a day, asking me to do SEO, to build the website, to do all that kind of work. And it's a constant stream. And
so they're filling in the form that's on your website.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what
And
we
it's
were
got
just
CAPTCHA on it.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they got CAPTCHA on it, and
Yeah.
I've not successfully been able to do it. The only other place I get some spam is on my real estate site, and it's through comments. So I'm getting some, one every 2 weeks where I'm getting someone from somewhere. The last one was China,
Wow.
making comments, and I report that as spam and go from there.
Yeah, right. So Vivek has pointed out something in the chat here. I think that is worthwhile making that distinction. Do you want to say that yourself, Vivek?
Yeah, I think we are discussing more about hackers.
Yeah.
But hackers are not spammers.
Right.
Their intention is to hack your website and do whatever else. Spamming is an entirely different thing. They don't need to hack your website to spam you. They just need to get your email address, and that's it.
So
hackers are much more. They can be more
damaging.
Damaging, yeah.
Right. So one of the Nathan, you alluded to that is to have a throwaway email address. What was it? Dotto talked to. He called it a decoy email that he used for testing and etc. So that you
for signing up for email lists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just shared another article that I wrote that was on HTML Goodies about 10 essential security tips for WordPress. And this is where I talked to a guy who's a programmer. His name is Brandon Zundel, and he's an expert on this kind of stuff. So also useful information. It's not necessarily spamming, but I mean, if somebody breaks into your WordPress site, God help you, it could cause some major problems in your life. So spamming in the sense of not necessarily where they spam you, but they use your site to spam others.
Yeah.
So and that creates another type of headache.
Yeah, that's true. So Vivek and I talked the other day about when you get spam from somebody, should you go in and unsubscribe? Now, there's a belief that you should not unsubscribe because that gives them the message that you are paying attention and that they get more information from you. So I think
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think that if you really honestly think that you're being spammed, the better thing to do would be to report, send it to your spam folder and report it to Google.
The other option is to forward it to the FTC if it's address out of the United States.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy, no matter what I did, I couldn't get off his list. He was spamming the hell out of me. His name is Gary Ambrose. God help you if you get into that guy. He won't leave you alone. He'll spam you into eternity. Yeah. And the only way I was able to stop it was to forward all his stuff to trash within Gmail.
Yeah. Well, I have a similar one that he has tried to get into Chipmunk, and when I go in and look in my spam folder now, I can see that he sends me something every single day.
You know, some of these people are
So,
just absolute
yeah,
pricks,
yeah.
and
So
hell, they're
it's
worse than herpes.
right. So, so,
Sorry to be so blunt.
but it is important not to probably not to unsubscribe. And of course, the other way to handle all of this, I'm hoping everybody knows about in Gmail. You've got that sorting factor that's there. You can have three or four different folders that things get sorted into, and I find that really helps, because I find for myself, um, I I'm on a lot of like companies that I've done business with, and they'll constantly be sending something. Netflix, for example. I mean, I have a Netflix account, and I don't want their daily or weekly updates coming into my personal space. But I like having it there to go in and have a boo at it every once in a while to see what they're sending. So that sorting factor that Gmail does is a tremendous help for me. Yeah. So anybody else experiencing what are you doing? Are you unsubscribing or just delete or what? Anybody? Oh, Fred.
I
Go ahead, Fred.
Okay. It's just in the last few days, I've been getting a lot of people saying they want to subscribe to my website. And it's just, I mean, I recognize it. And I've got sometimes 20 a day, and it's all looks like it's from Russia or somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have an IP blocker, so I try and block that IP address.
Mm-hmm.
But they still get around that. That's not, that the IP blocker is not blocking this particular one. It's blocking some others.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been deleting. I do it every day now, and I can delete maybe 20 or more subscriptions, so-called.
Oh.
And it's just junk.
So
And I don't know what they're trying to do.
well, there's a setting within your WordPress to prevent that. And I sort of forget what it is, because I experienced that before as well. And I went into the back end and made some changes. But David, do you remember the name of that? What is it? iThemes. There's
There's iThemes, and there's Updraft Plus, and
it's
there's
that
it's really important. That's what I talk about in my article about
okay.
security steps for WordPress.
yeah.
I'm
And
going to be
then-
writing about it again, quite a bit of detail, because I'm going to be doing video tutorials on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's iThemes, there's Updraft Plus, there's something else, all designed to keep these people out.
Yeah.
There is another really important thing that we haven't talked about to do with spammers. It has to do with where are they finding your address. And if you are putting your address on your website, that's one major way that bots are going to find it, and you're going to get spam. So a couple of different ways that you can deal with that. One is to use hexadecimal coding as a way of changing your address into hexadecimals. Another way is to use JavaScript to encrypt your email address so that they bots can't harvest it. Again, it's all stuff that I've written about, sent to you, so you can look at these tips and ideas. There's a ton of information. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you what I did on my website. I learned that if you create a button and you put a link inside the button, they cannot, the bots can't get it.
Cool. Yeah, whatever it takes.
So you just create a button and put the email address on the button, and then they can't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh dear. Well,
Yeah, there's a spam assassin that you can use on HostGator if that's what you've got. Spam assassin, which you can program it to block these people. Like when I mentioned earlier about these databases that I was a part of getting cracked, and I was getting all this crap.
mm-hmm.
The only way I was able to stop it was to enter certain parameters within Spam Assassin, and it instantly blocked it,
Mm-hmm.
and I never had a problem
Yeah.
again. So all these tools.
Yeah. The iThemes, I think, is the one I'm using on mine, and I get a report when every now and again, and it's amazing when you see what they've blocked out. Just amazing. Yeah. And it'll also tell you when something on your website has been changed.
Well, they'll send you notifications
Yeah.
about something wrong with your site. And what it really means 9 times out of 10 usually is that your plugins are outdated and you need to update them, because that's another way, at least from WordPress, where these people can crack your site.
Yeah.
And you have to keep everything updated as much as possible.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
really important. So there you go.
I'm noticing that Javita said she was really happy that if our websites are hosted by WA, they sure do take care of a lot of that security stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got that additional level of security, there are other sites that will help you with that, such as SiteGround, from my understanding. Liquid Web is another, and Turnkey hosting.
Yeah.
Because one of your problems with the spam and all this stuff has to do with having a shared hosting account that can create some problems.
Yeah. So have we beat the topic to death yet, folks? Or
Not yet. We need a pitchfork.
Do we've gone to the bottom of the hour. So I'm just wondering, before we close, whether there's anything that any parting comments that anybody would like to share. Anything at all, or shall? Yeah.
If you use Gmail or G Suite or any of the Google emailing products, it's better you use their web interface. Don't use some other interface on your computer and grab all the emails and all that. If you grab all the emails, then classification that Google does to classify some email as spam, some email as promotion, some email as updates, and others as inbox, all that classification will be lost if you simply grab all the emails into your computer and use some other software to...
Oh, you're referring to a different browser, are you? Is that what you mean?
Lots of people don't use browser as their interface to read the email. They are used to, say, for example, Outlook. Just at the top of my head.
Okay.
Outlook comes as an example. Or Thunderbird. If you use any of these clients to grab all the emails from your
Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail or your website or wherever, all the classification that is done by Google is lost.
Okay.
So it's all comes into your inbox as if it's all
okay.
email.
So if you're going to use Gmail, use the complete thing. Yeah.
Yeah, web interface.
Yeah, right on. Any other parting comments? I thought I saw you about to say something, David.
I was trying to help Vivek.
Oh, okay.
He needed to say Outlook, but these spammers are very hard, sometimes very difficult. give me some ideas, but I've used all sorts of different stuff to try and stop them, and I still haven't stopped them yet. So when I figure out the best thing, I will do that.
You'll share it.
Yeah.
Unplug from the internet.
That's not an option.
I know, but you said when you figure out how to stop, well, I know for sure that'll stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you won't get any email, but minor detail.
And wouldn't we all die of boredom if we just disconnected from the internet? So
but I go back to what you were talking about on the places that I buy stuff. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, I either opt out of it or I unsubscribe to it, because most of it I don't ever read. I just go right over the top of it, and the 1% of the time I do read, I wouldn't miss it anyway. So
right. Well,
so I unsubscribe to all that stuff.
Yeah, I like I say, I just scan and then delete. Like I just do a mass delete. So yeah. So that's the joy of being able to do all that stuff in Gmail, for sure. Okay, we are. I think we've covered lots about this. So I want to remind everyone that next week we will talk about making peace with yourself, with people, community, and the planet. A very wide topic, but it seems to be something that we're all concerned about.
Well, especially these days with what's going on.
Correct.
It's been hard on everybody in different ways.
Correct.
And so it's a really good topic.
Yeah. So thank you. I'm glad you think so.
Oh yeah, it's super important now, because I don't know about you, but when this whole pandemic, whatever you want to call it, hit, I wound up being glued to every media device, and I broke one of my major rules, which was don't listen to the radio, don't watch TV, and don't read the newspaper. But I was glued to everything, like so many other people I know, and since that started, I've taken some major steps to pull back in a huge way from media, and I can share that a bit next week. It's important.
We've all got some things to say about that. So
I'm sure we do. Yeah, it's a great topic.
Yeah, right on. So next week, making peace. So I'm going to close now with a reminder that it's important to do what you love with passion, and we shall see you next week. So now I need to do what? I need to do, I've lost my list. Oh dear. Alt something. Where is it? Where is it? It's gone. It's gone. There it is. Alt 4.
What's the old something?
Alt 4.